Buckle up, Cantina Cruisers. This week we're getting excited about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie by reviewing Ben Travis's Empire Magazine exclusive article previewing the May 22nd release. Let's go. Welcome to another week of Cantina Chronicles. This is a weekly Cantina crawl across the Star Wars galaxy where we have delightful discourse about all things Star Wars, including news, notes, and theory, synthesizing all media. We contextualize your canon. We are your landing pad for all things Star Wars. Grab a seat at the bar. Let's chop it up. Grant and Adam, how are you guys doing this week?
Good. Spring break, baby.
Oh, yeah? Is your spring break, buddy?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You know, I've been doing writing because I'm a nerd. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, we're all nerds. This is a Star Wars podcast.
It's therapeutic to write. I totally understand.
Cool.
Dude, I'm so excited to talk to you guys. We have just been talking for like an hour before hitting record about so many things, and it's all very exciting conjecture. But
yeah,
I think I wouldn't mind diving back into all the things we've been talking about before the pod, which was like film news, Jedi, where we think stories could go, all that sort of stuff. After we talk about what is actually more important than that, which is we got Mando and Grogu news, and that's official, and that's I'm just dying to talk about it, and I don't know anything about this news.
Yeah,
I'm coming to this blind, so you guys are going to drop stuff on me, and I'm going to I'm going to love this experience.
Prepared to be mildly interested.
I'm stoked. Guys, this is it, Adam. This is the podcast. Put this date down. This is the day that you start getting really excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu.
By the end of this podcast, Adam is going to be so hyped.
I will say, I'm now leaning into the character part of it, but after reading the article, I'm definitely more excited than I was prior to the article. So I'll say that.
Yes. Yeah. So the article in question is the Empire Magazine, which is kind of funny. Empire Star Wars. They do this before every movie. Behold real journalism. And actually the one thing I didn't get to do was get the author of the journal's name because I wanted to
Travers, isn't it Peter Travers?
Sure. I looked and I couldn't find it. There's actually two articles. There's one about the movie and then
Ben Travis.
Peter Travis.
Thank you, Peter Travis. Peter Travers is the film critic for Rolling Stone. So.
Yeah, Rolling Stone. I was like, wow, this is exciting.
Yeah, very different. I just before we even get into it, I just want to say thank you, Ben Travis, for being a real journalist in the world. There is a serious difference, and it's my fault because I refuse to pay money for online journalism, and I should. But I was like, oh, real journalism. It was refreshing to hear someone who could actually write, even though I caught a typo within like the first 3 paragraphs. But
that's more the death of editors than it is his fault. Like,
yes, let's blame it on the editors. That makes sense.
Not the editors, the lack of editors. The corporation's not paying for editing anymore. Anyway,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Says the man who had Claude edit his thing like 7 times yesterday.
You got to filter that through a couple other AI platforms before you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
AI picked.
Tell me about this article. What happened? What do we learn?
Well, I love Adam's piece about the character stuff because we get a lot from Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
And we get a lot from Sigourney Weaver and Dave Filoni, and just like the sheer joy that Pedro Pascal has for film comes through the page so clearly. And it's the Pascal, whenever you see an interview with him, he's like joyous, happy, grateful, talented, funny. Like it just pops right through the page. And his like love for this from the beginning to where it is now is palpable. And that got me pretty psyched. I didn't even think about it.
He is the most delightful human being on earth.
Really, right? I mean, he's like seems like the happiest person in the world.
And just like so magnetic, like you are endeared to him.
Yeah.
If you just see him, on screen and anything, you're just instantly endeared to his character. And he really is the everyman of our time. We kind of are all, he's the vehicle for a lot of our sort of dreams and visions, and I couldn't be happier with him just getting more and more stuff. And it's exciting that he's in this movie and that he's not going to have the helmet on. That's really exciting. I know a lot of people are excited about the no helmet.
That's
Pedro
part
stuff.
of the news. That's part of what happened in this article.
Why not start there? So they the author talked about like, we're gonna see him without it, and Favreau had a line about just being like, we had to show him like he's like too good an actor to not like show his face. He's like, so I needed to figure out a way to do that organically, and he told Pedro like kind of early in the process, and Pedro's like, that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's perfect. And I mean, maybe this is for an article, and that's just like a story he made up, but it sounded authentic when I read it. And I could imagine that be true, that like he cares enough about the story that he'd want to, that he has his own conjecture about it.
I was having the same thing, by the way, Ben, when I read it. It's like, how much is this like true versus how much this is whatever. But like, I'm a realist / cynic, but I'm like, let's just approach this as we'll just take them at their word, because it's so hard to dissect all of these things to be like, what's true, because it's all written, right? So we're not actually watching these interviews. You can't even like pull it apart for that reason. So I know it's the same thing.
It is so cynical. A wise person I spoke to at length told me that it really doesn't matter why people do good things as long as they're doing good things. And they're saying good things, and I think that's great.
At some point of the Hutt's like, you're just a boy in a mask, and just rip his helmet off and throw it against the wall. Like, what happens? How does the helmet get removed? What's going on here?
I have no theories about that, about why he would take his helmet off. It appears that they both get captured to some extent and need to rescue each other. That's just like, there's a picture of Grogu in a cage. We see him in the trailer sort of operating with the Anzellans.
There's a photo of Grogu in a bird cage?
Yes, in a wee bird cage.
Yeah.
In the article?
Yeah.
That's new. I've not seen that visual.
Yeah, there's new photos in this. There's new stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it could last a minute. It could be some gambit where he gets caught intentionally because like they're not, they're a couple of 2-bit, mobsters or something. Like, who knows how they're operating? It starts off with a quote from Pedro sort of saying like, we went through these first 3 seasons, and it like they put a tidy bow on it, and the author's like, they could have ended there. Pedro's like, no. He's like, that's really just like the end of the first chapter, or a particular chapter is what he said. And so that was encouraging for me, someone who wants to watch The Mandalorian for the rest of his life. So, so that's kind of cool. So it's moved on. Now they're like, I think Pedro said this is an opportunity for Mando to do his best work as a bounty hunter, working for the good guys, essentially. So, and I mean, I think we talked about this earlier, but we've turned the page. This is now, they're right. They now have, in addition to their creed and their armor and their mission, bounty hunting, they have this moral code that they're following to get into stuff, and they're off in the galaxy, and their point person is Sigourney Weaver, aka Colonel Ward, which is great. Ward, all
Ward.
The names.
Oh, you mean Sigourney Weaver's character? Yeah,
it's like that's another name that's like, like it's like, I'm your ward, like I care for you. It's just sort of they're going a little crazy with the naming convention.
Okay.
And
I didn't read this article.
Yeah.
I didn't read this article, but I did maybe hear something or did see a blurb that was like Sigourney Weaver saying that this is like almost the first commission, sort of like hired soldier for the New Republic. Is that correct?
I don't know about ever. I think she made it sound like this was his first mission for the New Republic.
Or like commission, like they're paying someone, an outsider who's not part of New Republic.
Yeah, fairly unprecedented. And so there's obviously some doubts there.
Yeah.
So this was definitely the first mission that that the Mandalorian, or it sounded like the first mission that the Mandalorian was going to do for Colonel Ward and for the New Republic. And it sounds like a doozy.
It's so interesting because I really don't understand sort of like the political thought around the Mandalorians. Like we know Boba Fett wears the Mandalorian armor, and he was steeped in sort of the underworld for the majority, all of his life, essentially. And sort of like just in that sort of class system and that sort of like ragtag sort of bounty hunter life, and we know that. But then when we see the Mandalorians in both the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian TV series, we can see that they seem to be sort of galvanized to return to Mandalore and be Mandalorian warriors and sort of live out their Mandalorian code. Is Ward hiring the Mandalorian Din Djarin because Mandalorians also fit into the underworld? Like when their planet was glassed, did a lot of them scatter in the diaspora? Sort of like a lot of them had to survive in the underworld. Like it. I'm wondering if like why she chooses the Mandalorian to sort of like go, deal with the Hutts and things like that. And like,
that's a really good question.
Bring up Boba Fett, or like, is she gonna bring up something that's like, you guys do this stuff? That's what you do. I mean, like you got the armor to go, deal with these, in these seedy areas. Yeah. So I'm just interested about the sort of like what's been going on with the Mandalorians and what sort of having gone so far on the sort of journey of reuniting the Mandalorian clans in the show to then sort of like almost backtrack back to season 1 of the Mandalorian and sort of make him a bounty hunter on commission for the New Republic. It's really interesting to me. I kind of just, it feels like another sort of shift that I didn't see coming. But then again, the Mandalorian is dedicated to the code and wants to be a part of the sort of like new, collective of Mandalorians that are out there. But at the same time, he seems to be just purely a, wanderer, a drifter, interloper with the child and mainly just the father. And that's really interesting too as a choice. And so I think to me, he's almost like just a father archetype character, and he'll always be that. And it's not like he's not really supposed to be a lot of other things. Like he's not supposed to be a bounty hunter, a seedy underworld sort of bounty hunter type, and he's not supposed to be a Mandalorian like the Mandalore, right, per se, like sort of leading the Mandalorians. He's sort of like just father to son character.
I feel like it's interesting. I feel like when I got this article, it almost feels like they're trying to weirdly accomplish two things at the same time, which is, I think you're right, Grant, it's a bit of a reset where I feel like this movie's going to be Mando on a mission at the same time, and kind of
I see what you did there.
Clever, Adam. You can't sneak that in.
I didn't realize I was saying it. I hate myself a little bit. And at the same time, but like trying to almost ignore season 3, but at the same time, they also are pointing to things from season 3, right? Like the Shadow Council returns
with actors, right, who are the same casted actors that are in the series. It's a lot of the casting.
TBD.
Yeah.
TBD, man. I mean, we know Shadow Council, yes. We don't know whom.
Right.
And
Ben. This movie is ending with Pelion and Thrawn and your Brendel Huxes and like. I'm sorry. It doesn't go there. And that's how this movie ends.
I think you're gonna get a Thrawn in here. Yeah.
There's a new antagonist. We know that, and I think the way this article read was it was a new character because he's like, you're gonna love the name. Favreau teased the guy.
Yeah.
And that meant that it's probably going to be another one. Yeah, or Commander Terra Diver or something.
Right.
If it's Colonel Ward, it'll be like John Oppresso or something because it's Star Wars. But it could be new.
Also
but
I think I read a blurb that there's like possibility that it could be a legacy character as well, though. Like,
I mean, not in this article, right?
Okay.
But that might have been supposition based on the article.
Someone, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. One could glean that, yes, it could be a name, it could be a name that we recognize. But maybe the average watcher won't. They said explicitly they were going to design this so that you don't have to know all the lore to enjoy the movie. So, and that was the line with the typo was, we're going to, the more lore centric elements of the New Republic era are for Ahsoka 2 to unpick was the word, but I think they meant unpack. So like, I've kind of got this feeling years ago when they started talking about this like rollout that like Ahsoka 2 is really going to be our heir to the Empire.
Yes.
And this is
really,
this is going to be a jaunt, fun jaunt,
fun
heroes.
Yep. There's going to be,
it's a fun jaunt into the Shadow Collective person who is the main villain of the movie sort of dying, tapering off, and then you're gonna see a Thrawn Pelican situation.
I have a feeling we get a Thrawn tease towards the end. Like I feel like they're just gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense it would set up Ahsoka too, actually, a little bit.
Because you can imagine the Shadow Camp still going, he's back, and being like, "What do you mean he's back?" And then you just see him like jump in with a Star Destroyer. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of technology that's also a sought after sort of MacGuffin. Like almost
Thrawn
like
to play with.
Exactly. See, like a card that you're setting up, right? It's like, oh, cloaking technology. Who's the best at it? Oh, this criminal syndicate. Oh, Thrawn needs this. Oh, the Shadow Collective's getting that, and he's going to steal it from them to use it. And then I just need Thrawn to attack from like cloaked ships at some point. In his return, at some point, he needs to just outsmart someone militarily in like just the craziest way.
And I don't want his POV. I want the POV to be the Republic. And like every turn and maneuver they do gets thwarted, and they're like, "What is going on?"
It's not Thrawn's POV. It's like what?
And just like, oh, we have to escape this way, and then like, boom, there's just like some like destroyer in front of them, and they're like, oh, you just a classic fall into Thrawn's trap, and that I want the experience, that feeling of helplessness that you
because
feel
when they do arrive on Peridia, like there's a minefield there, obviously. But I think Thrawn is doing that out of desperation because the Purgles can come and like just destroy his Star Destroyer if he ever needs to get out of Atmo and just hang out, right? He's like he can't really do much there because I feel like it's just a sort of a dire circumstance, and like we haven't really seen him like outsmart the New Republic or like something crazy, you know what I mean?
Right. He literally brought a whole like army back from the dead. Like that's he has so
I'm not in
little
love
to
with
work
that story element, but
but it's impressive.
He's a zombie army.
That's an example of Thrawn taking what he has, dead bodies, reanimating them and creating an army. I mean, that's some stick-to-itiveness. That's some real heads up thinking.
Finding a way.
You're finding a way, and that's what he does. But yeah, I mean, that's down the road, but I'm telling you, this movie is going to be, it sounds like it's going to be really fun. We're going to dig into the characters. It's huge. So many practical effects. They're not in the volume at all.
Yeah,
for
they
this.
made that
that's
very clear. No volume.
Practical sets, built sets,
built characters.
That's so cool.
He said that there's going to be some, spectacle, but like with heart. But they said like, the stuff we saw in the trailer is not by a long shot the biggest things we're going to see.
Some Phil Tippett stop motion.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Sick.
That's actually really exciting.
It feels like a warm blanket. Like
it's that plus you said like no volume plus Goranson coming back for scoring. Those are the things that are getting me the most excited about watching this in a movie theater, right? Where
Goranson IMAX? Are you kidding me? Like I'm always there for anything he scores in IMAX. Like I'm it's so exciting. And the whole thing about shooting this on IMAX cameras and making sure it's, entirely sort of like outfitted for an IMAX experience is very cool.
I can't wait to see this, like the moment it debuts, because it's going to be beautiful and it's going to sound amazing. They gave so there was a little short interview with Goranson after this article, and not a lot there, but they did upscale his orchestra from 74 that he used in the TV show to 105 piece orchestra, and there will be a 64 piece choir. So music's going to get bigger in a great way. He also said 99% of all film composers are involved because of John Williams. and that's bold, but I'm not going to argue with him because
the coolest thing about this movie, the coolest thing about the Mandalorian and Grogu, and I'm going to get you hyped right now, Adam. This is going to be the detail that gets you super hyped for this movie.
Okay, bring it.
Is that they're thinking to themselves, we have every VFX house in, on the West Coast, in the northern and northwest of the U.S. and in Southeast Asia and Asia. They have all the VFX houses, right? And they're saying, how can we guarantee the Oscar for VFX? Let's just go all in. Let's go all in on VFX to the point that no other movie can arrive on the scene. Dune 3, Dune 3 is tough because it's so tasteful and it's going to be really beautiful, and how they composite is just stunning, and it's next level, honestly. But it's a third movie in a trilogy, and I almost think like unless it pulls a full-on Return of the King, like I don't know how well it's going to do.
I
And
well,
Dune
also
2 was
knowing
the
the source
best movie.
material it's coming from.
Dune 2 was the best movie of 2024, or that year, but didn't get like best picture. It was so good.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah.
blown away by that movie.
That was a great movie.
And
Beautiful
like
movie.
it just wasn't
I know,
really
it's amazing.
recognized. It's so good. And then
it might,
yeah.
but it just might get the Return of the King gift,
Yeah.
right?
they might get the gift. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Mando and Grogu, I'm telling you, I think this is a real VFX achiever, and I don't think anything is gonna. I think this is gonna be the VFX movie of all time. All time.
Okay.
I think it's an all-timer VFX movie. Like, if you talk about VFX, I think it'll be like it culminates in the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's like where VFX culminates.
That's a great call, Grant, because I mean, Lucas always set the precedent, right? He was always like, and now we're going to do something, the next thing, and we're going to do the next thing, and we're going to take it to another level, like with every movie. And I don't see any reason why Filoni
And like they don't
Favreau
just show
wouldn't
you
wanna
like
do that
one
again.
or two or three creatures. There's like 15 creatures in the trailers. Like
Yeah,
just to the
it's
trailer.
It's
out
gonna be a
of
creature
control.
feature. Yeah.
It's
And they're
out of
beautiful.
control. And they're
They had a
beautiful
still of
and
that
amazing.
snake. The snake is like one of the most beautiful designs.
It
I've
really
ever
is
seen.
incredible.
life.
Is that just like a bigger version of the thing that Rey fights in the?
It looks like a different species.
different.
Yeah.
Okay,
Its
different.
face almost looks like putting two hands together. Like it's
really
got
cool.
lines on its like snoot, but its eyes are amazing.
It's the
just like-
Rancor pit. You're seeing Mando thrown into the Rancor
Yeah.
pit, which is like, what? How does Mando handle that situation? Luke
It's like
grabs
if a
bone.
Lamborghini was a giant snake, like just the set, like the coolest lines you've ever seen
It's really
on a
neat, yeah.
design. Like like Doug Chang and his team, like
They crushed it. Yeah,
yeah,
Our
they were on
department
fire for that.
annihilated
Yeah,
this movie.
So I have a real
But is
question.
that might be all the movie has to offer, which is another. I totally understand the worry of that. Like, I don't know if the movie's gonna like give you a lot other than like here's the huts and Nar Shaddaa and things you always
I
wanted to
think
see.
we're gonna care about the characters.
I hope
We're
so.
gonna care about the more Mando and Grogu as we always do, and they're gonna be on this wild
wait
adventure.
a second. We're already deeply endeared to the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like I
Right.
don't need any more. I don't need any more like scenes to care about him other than what I saw at the end of season 1 and sort of like be like, I freaking love these guys. Like I love this duo. I don't
Yeah.
I kind of like I don't want it to get too sappy where it just turns into like sort of third act of a
I do.
Pixar
I want
movie.
I want
over
I
and
want
over
it to
again,
make me
but-
cry. I want to cry.
You're gonna
Okay,
cry.
okay.
We're both gonna cry, Adam.
We'll all cry.
I don't know
I'm sure.
about Grant. Grant
Yeah.
will cry.
No,
too.
I will cry because of the Grogu Din thing. Like the
Right.
whole
It's
like
an easy
father-son
heartstring to pull
thing.
at.
Yes. Yeah.
I,
You
I
know,
will.
yeah.
I won't survive it. But I'm just saying that I'm already there. Like I'm already with them. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
with them already. It's more of like, give me that after like a 3 movie trilogy of like exploring whatever the heck this freaking Heir to the Empire just quilt of the timeline is. But
Sure. This is just gonna
like
be Top
I don't
Gun
need it
Maverick.
now. I need it after the quilt is made. Like if we're
Yeah.
gonna keep using them along this whole like Heir to the Empire thing, like I need it at the end to be like, damn, they rule. Let's do comics for 20 years.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, I think it's not going to be faulty because it's a standalone. Filoni was talking about, like everyone remembers, like he remembers in '77 the theater rumbling and like watching the blockade runner speed away from the giant ship, and he's like that moment is magic, and he's like that's the moment that we're trying to recreate in this movie. And it's just like the pure joy for Star Wars and trying to do that,
Yeah.
Right. Recreating the thing you saw that you loved. Yeah.
Recreating-
that's what
but
Star
not
Wars is all
literally,
about.
obviously.
Seminal
emotionally.
moments
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
film
sure,
history
sure.
that changed an entire genre. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
Sorry.
We just talked about this last week, I thought, where it's like,
I feel like we did.
indie
But I
77
believed
film
him.
is
I
never
think he
coming
can do
back.
it. He can
anyone
literally
could.
do it because
If
he's
anyone
making the
could,
movies.
I
But
mean,
I think
sure.
he can actually do it.
yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to remind myself that, one of the best Star Trek things to come out over the past 15 years has been Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is a very episodic thing, right? It's standalone episodes with something. And I'm like, I love that. And I'm like, I always say sometimes I wish I just had more episodic things, right? So I have to just remind myself that this is
You
probably what
want
we're
this.
getting. We're getting a nice little standalone action film, and it's just going to be Top Gun Maverick in the Star Wars universe.
It's not going to be that dumb. It's not going to be that dumb.
You know what happened, Ben? That's tough.
Favreau is an excellent filmmaker.
Right.
Yeah.
He writes amazing scripts. He makes you care about inconsequential characters. This is it's going to be a really fun ride, and they've got a new mission.
As was Top
They've
Gun
got a
Maverick.
new
Top Gun
moral
Maverick was a
center.
very fun ride.
They're fighting on the side of the good guys. You know, they have the full presence of the New Republic at their back. And you know, and they're going to be doing good things instead of trying to, you know, negotiate with bad people all the time. It's going to be a new thing. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's actually a classic film too. It really is just a crime film, a pastiche, in that like the Mandalorian is being hired to, you know, inside a new Razor Crest that's like possibly like recovered from the underworld, sort of then infiltrate the underworld. It's like a classic gangster film, honestly. Like it's a classic film. This film has been written 100 times over. It's sort of like the, you know, fish out of water FBI or cop going into the underworld, but it's not like it's a PI essentially. It's essentially a PI. And,
maybe it's the earnest film I was looking for all along.
Well, so it's gonna be Obi-Wan. It's gonna be Attack the Clones, Adam, which is I'm gonna get you hype again here. Where this is
I mean,
basically
now I'm
gonna
on
be
board.
Attack of the
Now I'm on
Clones.
board. Like my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be a noir on Nar Shaddaa, which is like in Nal Hutta. Like that's insane.
I'm somehow more excited for Road to the Hut after this article than I was before. I was like, what are we doing? And now the more conversations are like, okay, it's just like this kid of Jabba's who's now trying to like live up to this. Like, what does that legacy mean for him? And like, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Before we move on to Jeremy Allen White, and he's a huge part of this.
I have one more thing to say too. I have one more thing to say too, which is
no, but like,
go
I
first.
think Grant, just to add on, I think yes, it'll have that underworld film noir thing, but I think it will have a heavy dollop of like sort of World War II, like secret mission sort of energy to it too. I mean, I don't know, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, maybe not that, but like, you know, like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like those like special forces set behind enemies' lines.
Comes from Navarone type of thing. And
yeah. I was what was the art movie where they're sent in to steal the
Monuments
art?
Men.
Monuments Men. Yeah, that sort of
every dad's favorite movie.
Yeah, right. The actors in that are insane.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Replaced by Nuremberg.
I'm just saying like that. So that there's that element of it too that I think will spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's sort of like our Operation Paperclip, like Imperial scientists. We already know Pershing, right? Like there's a lot of cool like Imperial science angle to this stuff that's really interesting to me, because obviously the Empire was, you know, in the most sinister way possible, you know, hiring every scientist from every corner of the galaxy and elite sort of like academic to work on like special weapons projects.
Here's the thing. Maybe I'm just incapable of feeling joy anymore, which I know is not true, but like I feel like I know it's going to be fun. I have no doubt that I'm going to enjoy my 2.5 hours in the theater. Will it stick? I guess is the only thing that I'm going to see over time, right? Is this just going to be like a dessert that leaves you hungry in an hour, or is it going to be a full meal? I don't know.
I know it's
gonna be good.
Yeah.
I think you're going to like this more than you like Solo album, Adam.
All right.
I think like
I think Solo's an impeccable movie. That's tough. Jonathan,
I know. I don't know.
I do too.
Writing a movie together is insane. It's so
I think it's an impeccable movie also, but that's why I think it's going to be that good. I think it. You know,
I think fans
be
slept on Solo in a crazy way.
I can't even do it again. I know. That's all I want this podcast turned into is just like just yelling at people to watch Solo every night.
Kazin was right.
You know what Star Wars does that sort of is like weird to me, which is I'm not trying to be negative here. It's just more of it's a story direction.
That's my role tonight, Grant.
Time and time again in Star Wars is like you're burning your ace in the sleeve sometimes. Like the episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett, like the Luke Skywalker episode. If you had saved that.
That's so odd
for
that
this movie. Like for Act 1 of this movie, do you know how many butts in the seat you would get? Seats you would get? It would be you'd see Luke's glove and everyone would be in the seats. Like it would be game over. Like it would be insane.
I agree with you, Grant, but
maybe remove
Ahsoka
from
you
that
to our last
situation, but, like, I
podcast.
don't know.
You know, our last podcast, we talk about how they never do anything consequential in like, you know, the non-feature film things, and they deserve some credit for rolling out Luke Skywalker to end, you know, a live action series, I think.
Yeah. He didn't end the series though. It was smack dab in the middle of the series. It actually
the
made
season,
no sense.
rather. the season.
Smack dab in the middle of a season
Book of
of
Boba
not.
Oh, you're talking
not
about the
the
one where he's
show.
training
And-
Grogu.
Yeah.
Yes, he was smack dab in the middle of a show that was not The Mandalorian.
That's not the Mandalorian.
And everyone
right.
was like, and everyone has the same consensus on that episode, is that it just didn't fit the show at all, and it felt like an episode of The Mandalorian.
I have a really
And-
cynical
was
reason
an
why that probably
episode of
happened. But we can move on.
Yeah.
No. There's definitely there's definitely reasons of why it happened. I'm sure
Yeah.
it was like this.
Everyone
is
saw
actual.
saw the show and was just like, I don't know if this is working the way we want to. Maybe if we do a Mandalorian episode in the middle, people will still keep
No,
watching.
I don't think it was that cynical.
Yeah.
I think it was more of like we have to then
Sorry.
do Grogu and Luke, and I know it's just a bunch of late nights of loving this idea of Grogu Luke
Yeah.
interaction, and they were just pressing that they do it as fast as possible. Which is, if you had saved that for the Mandalorian Grogu Act 1, Luke drops him off with Mando, hands Grogu off to Mando, movie begins. Fans would be uproarious.
That's the thing. If
Yeah.
they were if they were planning this out,
That's a
because
great idea.
I love that idea because it feels like this movie feels like, I think it's gonna be fun. It feels like, oh no, we haven't had a Star Wars movie out, and the last one was somewhat divisive, and we just need a fun get butts back in the seat. We got to do this, and like we know it's popular fans. Let's do this as a movie, which I think the end result's going to be good, which means we're going to get a really good, fun
aggressively
thing.
safe.
Like as
That's
much as
aggressively
it may be cynical why we got this movie, I think this movie is going to be fun and good. But if it was planned out, which might be the thing that we talk about all the times with Star Wars, is like the perfect place for this movie would have been between seasons 2 and 3, right? That would have been the perfect place of just like, you think it ends with Grogu and Mando separated, right? Grogu's with Luke, and this is him getting like the part of that would be kind of amazing, right? But you know, it is what it is.
I look at this movie as a palate cleanser a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we had the Skywalker saga. It's been a long time. We're going to get back into some hardcore lore and some things, but this is just a little appetizer just to get your Star Wars juices flowing. And then boom, Ahsoka season 2. And then, you know, Starfighter and all this stuff's going to start. I mean, we're going to get Maul and all this stuff's going to start rolling out again. They needed to take a breath for a minute. I think we're going to have like a really fun time with this, in this movie. And then, you know.
Well, we still have
then
the Dave
we'll get back
Filoni
into-
movie coming as well, right? That's still been promised.
TBD. It seems very vague. I think it's technically. I mean, nothing's
Is
like
the Thrawn movie.
Yeah,
right?
it's not close. I don't know that he has a script. You know,
I mean,
I think she
Rogue
that last
Squadron
article
is
with
not even
Kennedy
officially
said yes.
wouldn't
he
it just
has-
depend on the Mandalorian Grogu and how it does? That it's like, oh, let's now give Dave like that concluding movie, essentially concludes
Easy
all
with
of
the
the
concluding
Mandalorians.
talk, bro?
No,
Easy
I
with
think
the
a
concluding.
Mandoverse is
Maybe the
we
next
can't-
chapter.
We can't be in the Mandoverse forever. No, I'm thinking Dave Filoni.
I
has to
can.
then- Really, I can't be in this. I can't be in this Snoke will rise, Thrawn will fall area.
Well, I
It's just-
can
it's
with
too easy.
this perception of what this would be, right? Which is more of this kind of just continuing epic, but of Mando and Grogu, right? As opposed to being tied into a larger narrative.
Like they can skirt the First Order, and the First Order is mentioned in this article, by the way.
We're gonna get some connection there. I think, yeah.
We're gonna get some connection to it because he mentions
They
like,
use
it
Grogu's
ends
blood
up-
to make Snoke. That'd be freaking hilarious.
I mean, I think that's precedent. But
I always thought that. I was like, what is Pershing doing? Like, what's going on?
of course, yeah.
Like they're
Why else-
harvesting DNA.
I think it's either Snoke
They're
or it's the Emperor. You know, like it's some of this cloning.
Oh yeah, maybe
process.
the
Obviously,
Emperor's
they're trying
like
to-
corporeal form was only possible because of like Grogu blood
Oh.
on that freaking arm or something.
Didn't they talk about in the last season though that it might just have been for Moff Gideon and his weird clones of like
I
himself?
did not like that Gideon had a whole side project that was like more developed than the Emperor. I was like, this is better.
No, don't worry, you're not gonna see
This
him.
is
in the movie.
literally he has a
Yeah.
better situation than the Emperor. Like he is cloning his exact self, and they were like force sensitive. Like what is going on?
Yeah, they don't collaborate in the Empire. It's everyone for themselves. Apparently,
Yeah.
Is there?
I mean,
Is there a
yikes.
chance that this warlord is Pride from episode
no,
9?
there's no way
from
because
Exegol.
Pride is a svelte gentleman.
Have we seen the? Have you seen a picture?
Rupert Grant.
Oh,
Oh, is Rupert Grant playing the warlord?
Whatever his name is, Richard E. Grant. Yeah,
Yeah, but who's playing the warlord? Or
not
have we
him,
seen,
right? No, not
Have we
him.
seen any images of the warlord?
I don't think we've seen him yet. But I don't know if he's been cast or would they maybe just didn't say.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That could be Pride.
Like Favreau's like like deep Star Wars heads are gonna love this, and it's like Pride from Rise of Skywalker. Like what? What are we
don't know
talking
who
about?
else is on the table.
It sounded like it was a new character, that he was just creating someone new, and it's just a
You
different
think it's like
guy
literally
that would-
just the name? Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know. It would be more fun for me if it was someone tangentially.
It's not like Mahdi
created.
or like did Veers died, right? Because Luke.
Oh,
destroyed
yeah,
Mahdi.
that's a good call, Grant.
It's
Yeah,
not like
it could be.
crazy,
Yeah,
Colonel.
like
or
who
Admiral
survived?
we've
Who
seen.
survived Vader? Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The quote was more like, you're gonna like the
Yularen
sound
might
of
be
the
still
name.
no. Yularen's probably passed away.
Yeah, they're all done. But so the Sigourney Weaver angle on this was really great. They kind of framed her like she came up in the era of, in a long lineage of, female commanders of the rebellion, like Leia, Mon Mothma, Hera Syndulla. They mentioned all those, and then they mentioned that, like, when you think about Carrie Fisher and Sigourney Weaver were both young superstars at the same time doing space epics, and Sigourney said she was friends of a friend of Carrie, but they never, always respected her, but they never really talked about it when they were going through that situation together. But they really had parallel storytelling. I think Sigourney's going to be great. Like in the article or the interview, Pedro Pascal literally cried talking about being able to work with Sigourney Weaver. And I believe that. And he was like, I grew up on like Alien and, Girls in the Mist and Ghostbusters and, and she's magnificent in those. And then he's like, I would imagine being able to sit in a room or sit across from Sigourney Weaver and have a conversation about acting would be incredible.
I mean, just watching her in the preview, that's almost my favorite part of the entire preview. It's just like she is so effortless in what she does. It's kind of wild that she just commands a presence just by being there.
It's also just like perfect casting.
Yeah.
Like, I know you got Carrie Fisher and Laura Dern sort of like chewing up scenery in The Last Jedi and being those sort of strong, like rebel leaders.
Yeah.
And Gwendolyn Christie is doing an incredible job in Andor. But like Sigourney Weaver is almost like the archetype of that in a lot of ways. Where she's like the most powerful sort of like heroic sort of like rebel figure. Like Ripley to me was just such a powerhouse of a character that it's like, this is so exciting that like Favreau was like, who's perfect as sort of the New Republic sort of like Leia type is Sigourney Weaver. She's literally that character.
And they make
it so
point
good.
in this, that she's an ex pilot, right? Like she's actually
she's a crack pilot.
Yeah.
Crack was the adjective to describe her piloting.
So that's something different, right? It's someone who has, as much as Leia had combat, but it sounds like she was like on the front lines type of combat through the
So
rebellion.
we're going to get like Sigourney jumping into an A-Wing and it's sort of like the Yoda pulls a lightsaber on Dooku situation. Like it's like, oh, no way.
Also, so here's the weird thing to think about, because my brain always goes to math. I've been watching like Monarch Legacy of Monsters, because that show is weirdly okay. Weirdly not bad. Like every time I watch it, I go, I should hate this.
Weirdly
and
okay.
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's weirdly okay.
Why don't I hate this?
But I
don't
literally
hate
ask
it.
myself
Weirdly
that
okay.
at the end of every episode. And but my brain, Carly gets so mad because I start going like, wait, so he was born here, and how does that math work? And then literally I was obsessed with this the first season, and then like the last episode they explain the timey-wimey stuff, and Carly's like, there, are you happy? And I'm like, yes, I am happy, thank you. And now with the second season, she's like, oh good, we don't have to do this again. The second season, we're like, wait, so he's supposed to be how old again? And Carly's like, stop it. And I'm like, I can't. So
That show will
stop.
always be famous for, it was like where the Wyatt Russell plays the younger Kurt Russell, character, and it's like that is like for cinephiles. That's just exciting.
It works pretty well.
Especially
and
if
Anders
Wyatt Russell
Holm plays
keeps
a
going on a
really
career.
great young version of John Goodman. Like, who would have thought that casting works? But I'm like, oh yeah, those two are kind of similar. So
I forgot John Goodman's in it, and that's now you just made me want to go watch.
Very little.
Okay.
He just pops in a little bit because he's just a younger actor is playing him as a younger self. But so my question is like, and this really is the same thing, but it's interesting to think about. Like, we are putting Sigourney Weaver and Carrie Fisher kind of equals, right? They came around the same time, very similar roles. In the Star Wars universe, they are 40 years separated in life, right? Because this is 7 years BBY, or no, more than that.
ABY,
Anyway, ABY. And so it's just interesting to think like Sigourney Weaver is playing her age, and she's be cast against this Carrie Fisher that's in her 20s at this point or 30s at the most in the Star Wars universe, because it's only 7 years after, right? So Leia's like 30.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Sigourney must have been older.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. If she was active in the rebellion flying an X-Wing, she was a 50 to 60-year-old person flying X-Wings out there.
Can I say Leia
How old is
cameo?
Sigourney
Can I
Weaver?
put that in my
How old
bingo
is Sigourney
card?
Weaver?
I don't think that math that plays.
Well, I'll do that right now. Because we're talking about this takes place like 7 years after the end of the battles, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she is, very quickly, she is 76 years old. So that math would be she was 69 if she was in an X-Wing during the rebellion, maybe 65.
Why are you making her 69?
But that's a
during
Sigourney
rebellion?
Weaver 69.
So
like,
maybe
that
she's 50 something.
I'm
60
assuming
something?
that Sigourney Weaver is this, or Colonel Ward is the same age as Princess Leia.
no,
No,
there's no
because
way. She's older.
she's-
She's way older.
She's like, how old do you think? How old do you? So when you look at, let me stop here. When you look
I
at
see
Sigourney
what you're
Weaver
saying.
in the preview, like how old do you think that character is? 60s?
Late 40s, early 50s.
Wow.
Yeah,
generous.
actually, Sigourney Weaver can pull off like late 50s.
She could. All
Yeah,
right. So if
early
you're doing that
60s.
math makes. I'm putting her in at least in her 50s or 60s. But either way, yeah. So that works.
Yeah.
But either way, she's relatively like this is not like a criticism. She's relatively old to be in a starfighter, right? Which is impressive for that character.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that probably puts her in her like her 40s when she was in a starfighter. I don't know. That's sort of my headcanon on that. You know, because
I
it's
guess
like
it depends on how old you think she is.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
so we're
yeah.
talking about she's did they say like a starfighter pilot, or she's just like she could be driving, like frigates, like she could be
yeah.
like larger class ships. Like I don't know if is she a starfighter pilot?
She was, but she's a colonel now.
Okay.
She has a title.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
So
is
she's-
an honorific. So.
You got to give then you got to give like the 15-year career piece of like she was a starfighter
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
Got to
I
be
just
an
wanna
admiral, or got to
clarify-
be colonel. Yeah.
I just want to clarify my point because I don't want to come across as ageist. My point is, if my math, that makes her even more of a badass than what she was. Because if she's a 50 or 60-year-old person in a starfighter taking down TIE fighters, that's badass. Is my point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. The point.
Yeah.
The point ultimately is like she's almost the most badass like rebel character
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah, I want to let
Uh,
this go, but I can't, Adam. So why? How old are you saying she was? So you're saying based on her being
74 in real life.
She's probably like
oh.
52 at most at Endor or something.
Sure.
Or at
Let's
least
put her.
at Endor.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. She's
Yeah.
she's through the rebellion. She's in her late 40s
Yeah,
to early 50s.
I would age her at sort of like early 50s in this. I just like
Yeah.
like no
Okay.
later than
Okay.
like 61, 62.
So then maybe
Because
her
she can pull it
40s
off.
and during Endor or something. It still makes her older than the
than the
Trinity,
average
than
starfighter.
the
She would be-
ensemble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
then the ensemble, right? Then Luke, Han,
Yeah.
and Leia. It's like she's still older than
Exactly.
them. They may look up to her. I mean, like Donna is
Maybe
also
she fought in
older
the
than
Clone
everyone
Wars.
else. And
I mean, that's true too, right? We don't know what they're talking, what battle they're talking about. The other thing is, by the way, not to keep bringing up Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah.
but if you do that math, that's about the age that Tom Cruise is when he gets in a jet. And so, like, maybe this is just like, well, if it's good enough for Tom Cruise, it's good enough for Sigourney Weaver.
wait, but
at
like,
maths for me.
yeah, Admiral Riken and Dodonna and Mon Mothma, like these are all old characters that are older than the ensemble, right?
Yeah, but they're
Essentially.
sitting around in front of a.
So why can't
projector.
Sigourney Weaver just be hanging out with them? Essentially, like her stories are more about like those characters, and they're all like her contemporaries. And like Luke, Han, and Leia are these sort of like anomalous, generals
Yeah.
that came up and are just incredibly good at sort of
I
like
mean-
making a dent in the empire.
But that's a good point. That's the thing I get from this character is that she spends more. I mean, we only see a scene of her, but like based on the narrative in this and what we see from the previews, I just find her an interesting leader in the rebellion that she's just hanging around at Delphi Station, right?
Yeah, Delphi
With-
Station.
with like where all the pilots hang out. Like I feel like she's more on the ground hanging out with the low
But
rank.
she's got a coat and she's got some stripes and she's a colonel.
Yeah.
And she's just on the
Yeah.
ground because that's how Colonel Ward rolls.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate a Mon Mothma cameo.
Yeah.
An Akbar
Um,
cameo.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. I would
Dude.
be surprised if we get an Akbar in there. Yeah.
Like she hangs out with Akbar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That
that's
would be
who she
sick.
hangs out with, right?
That's who I'd hang out with.
Right.
It's
And Nine
who
Nub.
I'd hang out with.
Nine Nub and Akbar and just like all the time.
That'd be a rough night.
Dude.
That'd be
Yeah.
a rough night.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
a
feel like I'd
wild
wake up.
hot tub.
Not great. Next day.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we should finally talk about Jeremy Allen White.
Oh, yes.
We got into
Okay.
it, but this really just is all right. Let's talk about Jeremy Allen White, and then I've got a question for the panel. Yeah, he's in this, and he's playing Stinky, aka Rada the Hutt, the character, and they keep talking to Filoni about these things, and he's just like, I can't believe that. Like this character, I'm doing this character in live action. He recalls like pitching it to George and just being like, yeah, so it's going to kind of look like this. Henry Gilroy wrote that movie. And he kind of sketched it out on a napkin, is like, this is what a Huttlet looks like. So this is for people, if you haven't watched the Clone Wars animated movie that's kicked off the Clone Wars animated series that this character's from.
Didn't we all see it in the theaters? I saw it in the theaters.
I did not see it in the theaters. I
You
saw
didn't see
it
it in the theater?
a couple years later, maybe.
I went to a meetup gathering to go see it in the theaters. And boy,
I wasn't.
I did not
was
make any friends that day.
I was a latecomer to the Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, do I love this? And then I realized it's the greatest thing ever. Just the serialized adventures are like incredible.
Yeah.
It's sort of the Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
I
was also a latecomer
sort of
after I
type.
watched that movie.
Yeah. It's very Avatar: The Last Airbender to me. Sort
Yeah.
of. There's a lot of that energy in there, but with Jedi.
But he's stinky.
But he's Stinky. Yeah, that was his name. And yeah,
Who's shredded now, right? Is that
shredded.
is that the joke?
Yes.
The joke is he was Stinky the Hutt, like a little whiny
So
child.
the
that they had
line
to save.
the line is he's trying to become his own man and get out of the shadow of the Hutt name.
This is a classic gangster movie.
Yeah, this
It's
made
the
me
gangster
more
movies where the
interested.
crime family, one of the sons of the crime family, is
Yep.
trying to break good or live a straight
Yeah.
life, and
Yep.
and
I don't
there's
know
the
about straight.
twins or these other Hutts that are basically the nefarious Hutts.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, he's
so
like, I'm not with
it's
them.
such a simple story. Yeah,
Who are confirmed
Mando-
to be in the film, right? I think the twins are going to be in the film. I think.
oh, the twins
they-
are definitely in the film.
Did
Not
I
They're the
mean
ones
that-
who are like
I may have made that up.
in front
I
of
haven't seen
Mando. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
then basically Mando then goes in and the New Republic would like the Hutt that is ruling the Hutt clan to be sympathetic to the New Republic. And not only just sympathetic to the New Republic, but they know that the Imperial warlords, the remnant Imperials, are sort of dug into the underworld, right? And dug into dealings with the Hutts. And the sort of nefarious Hutts, right? Like the twins or something. And it just feels like Mando has to go in and sort of like disrupt that, not even disrupt that, but also bring the son of the crime family who's trying to, walk the good path, like they bring that son into the fold, and then somehow do a regime change, which is, which seems like sort of the topic of the day, but it's also what I think this movie might be about at the same time.
yeah,
It just seems
you know,
like that's
Yeah, definitely something along those lines. Like they need, he needs help to infiltrate the Hutts, and it's like he gets directed to Rada, and he's got to earn Rada's like respect. So there's probably a fight, and and then whatever he comes around.
Sure. It's funny because I was just like, love Hutts. I want to see more Hutts. When I saw the preview, I'm like, shredded Hutt. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. But then the article actually sold me on it because I'm like, that makes sense. If he's trying to get outside of his father's shadow, who was like the most hedonistic Hutt of hedonistic Hutts,
Right.
of course he's not going to have to touch any drugs. He's going to be straight edge. He's going to be the most straight edge Hutt that's ever lived, right? Because his father was Jabba the Hutt, which makes
X
kind of
is
sense.
tattooed on the hand.
You've also never seen a Hutt do like a spinning back fist. So it's like, it's sort of a subversion of like what you've seen of Hutts before, where it's like, oh, Hutts are just slobbingly and like hang out on like a slab and eat, decadent meals all day. It's like, no, not this Hutt. This Hutt is like dropping the people's elbow on like another monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this Hutt doesn't skip tail day.
Yeah.
No, right?
Yes.
Love it. Can I make a general comment about Jeremy Allen White, who I genuinely like? I watched every season of Shameless. I think he's great. I think he's great at The Bear. I'm glad he's taking a role that stretches him away from being a person in Chicago, because like 20 years of his career has been a Chicago man, which he's really good at.
Or New Jersey, he was Bruce Springsteen.
That's true. That was the first thing that he stretched himself. Not first, but then he was in the. Anyway, he was also. But like, this article doesn't really do him a favor in my thing, because the way he got the job is being at a Disney party and saying that he loved Favreau's early work, and I'm like, that's not a great look to be like, I loved
Like
you when you made
Swingers and
Swingers
Made?
and Made
No,
exactly.
I read that
Good, please.
differently.
I like those
Please
movies
help me on
too.
that, because it's just like, you were good when you made those two
Those were
movies. and then you
solid
sold out.
hangs. Those movies were solid hangs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I named
they're
my
great
podcast.
movies, but the
Solid
band's
hang.
had like 30 other movies.
I
since
read
then.
it as so, and this was actually interesting to me. It was like
It's
John
money,
Favreau.
baby. It's money.
Yeah, Favreau approached Jeremy Allen White at a Disney party and asked him to do the thing, and then he was like, which is cool because I really loved his work.
I really
loved
love
him,
your early
and-
work.
and he named like 2 early works.
Yeah,
But-
I just
Yeah, Swingers
It's the
The
and
early
early
Made.
work
one was
thing
like,
with
it
Bowie.
wasn't Swingers. It was like he picked a different movie, and then he, dude, Favreau's a legend. But he was just like, I think he was saying like, I love what he did with the character. My question for you guys was like, how does Filoni pick his actors? I mean, I think Sigourney Weaver's a masterstroke. Like that's just like the greatest casting.
Jeremy
he could have
Allen White
done.
loved Zathura.
But there's all these stories of like people who are like, yeah, he just walked up to me and asked me, and it's always at parties. And it's like, I just imagine him a little tipsy and he gets an idea and he's Jon Favreau, so he can do it. So he talks to Timothy Oliphant and he's like, bro, you want to be in Star Wars? Because no one says no to that. And
So
then it
the
works
thing
out.
about the Hutts though is like they are guaranteed to have like a vocoder based on their age and weight, right? Like he will have a deep bellowy voice because I think all the Hutts are built that way with that same
he better.
sort of like voice changer, and I think they're going to do that with him. So it's like I don't know how much Jeremy Allen White gets out.
I
of
don't
that,
know.
like gets through that situation, but I'm excited because what he does so well is sort of like the self-conscious, meek character, like a sort of like insulated, quiet person, and like is Rhoda working out, and also that where he's very sincere and earnest and good, and sort of like has this very this quietudinal sort of like attitude. Like I wonder if that's where Rhoda is, or if he's not just like this bombastic, loud, gladiatorial Hutt, right? Like if he's just in the arena fighting all day, he's loud and always just furious or whatever. It's like I don't know what that'll be. A new Jeremy Allen White I've never seen before, which is also very exciting. So I don't think
you
it's a bad way to do
cast Jeremy Allen White unless you want some of that like authenticity that he brings to every role.
Yeah.
And I think there will be some introspection and sort of, it's not all going to be that. It's not going to be sad the bear Jeremy Allen White, but it's going to be, he can't help himself but sound authentic. And
so there's
earnest.
almost like Rhoda monologues in the screenplay where it's like these monologues are only going to work if we get like the most sincere, most earnest.
It could be
most sort of,
5
like,
lines.
I
It
know,
could be
right?
5 lines.
I think
but
I
they'll
know. I think
sound
he.
great,
I think he goes. No way.
I think Grant's right. I think the Hutts and the Underworld are going to be key to whatever this mission is actually like roping them into this a little bit. Because here's the thing. If you're the New Republic and you need the Underworld to help you, you can't just be the New Republic and go to the Underworld. You need an in-between, which is Din Djarin, right? You need to hire someone out who can go in and approach these people. And I don't know. I think you're all right on a lot of counts there. I think you're going to get, in the pit Rhoda, and then you're going to get in the training room, which is going to be much more introspective. Like I think he has a performance face probably for these things, and then it's going to be.
Grant, they did say he will speak a little Huttese, but for the most part, he speaks basic, which makes sense. But
I think there will
Huttese.
be hear me out. This is my plus 300 bet that freaking I think there will be a Marlon Brando sort of like method scene in which Rhoda sort of like slithers away, slithers away,
eats an
looks
orange,
down, extremely emotive, eats an orange, fills with the curtains, walks and like slithers back to the Mandalorian, and it'll be like a full blown monologue with like lots of blocking, and only Jeremy Allen White or an incredibly sincere, sort of authentic actor of our time could deliver something like that. And I think you'll get it all in the Hutt face and how they do the mocap. I think it'll all be there, which is very exciting. So I'm calling for a Marlon Brando, Jeremy Allen White monologue scene. Where Jeremy Allen White comes through in a way that you didn't think was possible.
I hope you're right, because again, we kind of talked about like you don't use that actor for nothing, right? He's a tremendous actor. Give him something to do, not just cast him because he's a name.
Do a Streetcar Named Desire, but do the Jeremy Allen White thing with the Hutt.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
amazing, honestly. That
I
sounds
love it.
like
It sounds amazing.
incredible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so we have Pedro Pascal, we have Sigourney Weaver, we have Jeremy Allen White, and then we have some mystery
We have
bad guy.
Marty Scorsese. Yeah.
Martin Scorsese is as Grand Moff Scorsese T or something, just like hide it.
He's
a
an
little.
Argentinian like food stall vendor.
Oh,
I think that's
no,
what
that's
it's
right.
called, yeah.
He's already in the movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
you're
it's there. Yep.
He's he's in the movie.
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
this.
Yeah, no, that's right. We talked about that. But whoever this other actor is, I think it'll be good. And so the fact that we don't know the casting,
Lars
we don't know-
Mikkelsen in the movie confirmed.
Or like Coleman Domingo. He's in everything, which again, I would not be angry about.
Domingo this.
just pick a Skarsgård. I don't care which
any
Skarsgård. Just like pick
Even
any
Bill?
Skarsgård.
You would take a Bill?
Bill, get a Bill in here.
I take
we
a Bill
always
Skarsgård.
talk about Tom Hardy being a Sith, like Bill Skarsgård. Get him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
How
man
about
should
it be
a Sith,
Tom
for
Hardy
sure.
and Bill Skarsgård? Like, I would just be like, these guys are awful. This is gonna be
Yeah.
bad.
Mm.
I mean, his casting.
Those would be
and-
two great Sith to work together.
Yeah.
Imagine those two. Oh, every scene would be gold.
right.
Why don't
Tripping
people
with
want
evil.
money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay us money to make a Sith movie.
That'll be
great.
the vehicle. That's how we
Yeah.
build up the
I mean, you gotta do it.
the package.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård in Barbarian is one of the best castings that's ever happened
it's so
ever because it's such a great misdirect. Like, you're just watching the entire first part of
He's
the
like,
movie
no,
going, "Is he
I
right?
rented this house online like 2 days
He's
ago.
gonna kill her for
This-
sure."
Yeah.
What? Get Bill Skarsgård it?
Yeah.
Pennywise?
I just actually pilfered Barbarian from my father-in-law. He has an extensive DVD collection.
Nice.
I'm looking for.
Have you seen
Wait,
Barbarian?
he had
or you just-
Barbarian?
I have not seen it.
Wait, he had
Enjoy.
Barbarian?
Enjoy.
He had
You're gonna enjoy it.
Barbarian and Sorcerer.
Oh,
He's-
Sorcerer.
Oh, Sorcerer.
he's like his own
Incredible movie.
blockbuster
I mean, those are
video,
two.
actually.
Those like 30
That's
years apart. 40 years
Yeah,
apart.
very different, but very good films.
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So I think it's working. It also may be the double Manhattan I just drank, but I think I'm getting more excited about this film. But now I'm
Yes.
getting worried because I'm getting more excited, which then makes me more likely to be disappointed. So now I'm like, I don't know how I feel.
I think you just buy your popcorn, buddy.
I mean, I'm
and
gonna
just
buy
sit
my
in the
popcorn.
seat
I'm
and
not.
and be entertained. I think
Adam
it's going to be
Filoni was
fantastic.
only second unit on this.
I've
He was
said
only
this-
second
You're
unit,
good.
bro.
You're good.
I've said this numerous times. I'm not going to be there, arms crossed. I am open and willing to enjoy this. I just, have.
We need a Filoni in the pod.
Thoughts,
We can't
concern.
talk bad about Filoni. This is
I know, we need him
I'm
on
so
the
excited for his promotion. I'm excited for the future. And we got to get him on the pod one day because we have questions and he's got answers,
He does. There was a great. So Grant, you'll appreciate this because the author of this article, again, what's his name? Travis.
Ben
Travers.
Ben Travis.
Travis.
Ben Travers. Sorry.
Ben Travis. Sorry.
Travis.
My name,
Go ahead.
Travis. I'm so sorry. I just haven't read a real piece of journalism in forever. I should know his name. But he was like, so that raises the question that Jabba the Hutt does things in a bedroom with a female. And Filoni was like, you have to talk to Pablo. Sorry.
Diverts to Pablo Hidalgo whenever there's like
Hidalgo.
a tough
Yeah,
question
he's like, you got to
that.
talk to Pablo Hidalgo about that. He'll have an answer for you, which is kind of funny that he immediately throws Hidalgo under the bus on that.
To talk about bedroom activities.
Yeah, because Rod of the Hutt is his Jabba's son. So
What if you actually someone about like Hutt mating?
I mean, if anyone would, it would be Pablo Hidalgo, right?
I will say, the last Star Wars movie we all saw together, the first thing we did after we walked out of the theater was ask questions about sex.
The
And
Emperor's
so
sex
it would
life.
only be
The
fitting if the
Emperor,
next one
yeah.
also led to more questions about.
Yeah, it
bedroom activities.
falls in the same category for sure. I think you could say they're reptilian or amphibious, and so they lay eggs and they pollinate eggs. Like that's I think what you'd get out of Pablo.
Yeah. Or
But,
do they asexually reproduce because they're slugs? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because they're slugs, right? Like
Yeah.
all that's on the table.
They have to go waist deep in mud.
Oh,
That's the
jeez.
Burpees.
I'm so
that's not
glad-
where you were going.
I'm
there.
so glad you finished that sentence because I did not think that's where that sentence was going to end.
Or was that all a metaphor? I don't know.
That was
the
button on the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be the name of the episode. Waist deep in mud.
Waist deep in mud. Yeah, a Hutt mating story.
I'm into it. Kind of into it.
Yeah.
We were talking
Well,
about
with that-
romanticy last week. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
What else we
I
got
don't know.
going on in this article?
I'm stoked on this. I think it's going to be super fun, man. I mean, Favreau makes great movies. He just does. And these actors are killer. Sigourney Weaver, like super stoked on that. And then it's just Mando and Grogu doing anything's great, but this is like, I think it's going to be bigger stage, bigger stakes. They're going to be doing it for the right reasons. I think there's a lot of positive stuff there, and it's just going to be beautiful. We're definitely going to get a nice planet in there. I really don't want it to be Hoth. I think there's probably a million.
I think it has to be Hoth now, because then the Super Bowl ad just feels like such a fraud. Like, I think you stand by it. I think you stand over your work and you make it Hoth, because we already saw Tauntauns in that ad.
Oh, right. You're right.
Well,
I also think the Empire. I also think the
me,
Remnant Imperials would go there because
I got a
the
well
rebel
actually
base is
about
already
Tauntauns.
carved out.
I got a well actually about Tauntauns. Tauntauns are not native to Hoth. They were actually brought there by the rebellion, and that's why they freeze. So it's likely that if they were using these things, they transported them to any other ice planets. So I'm just saying, just because Tauntauns does not mean Hoth.
Right.
Sorry,
they're not
in Star
endemic to
Wars
Hoth,
podcast, though.
Maybe the Tauntauns in a Darwinian sense would evolve differently to different sort of tundras and
I feel bad.
sort of Arctic scapes.
Yeah.
And so maybe they would look slightly different on the different planets that they would be at. But I
Great
have to think
thoughts.
this is Hoth.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. if it was
Maybe
Hoth.
there's short-haired Tauntauns on,
It's also like
Bespin.
Sigourney Weaver just giving you a mission to Hoth is like, that writes itself. It's like, yeah. I'm going. Yeah, you got it. It's like,
I think the ad side of Disney and the movie side of Disney were not talking to each other between that Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, I think
There's
that Super
no
Bowl
overlap.
ad was pure fiction.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that ad was pure fiction, but at the same time, it's like,
It's like, isn't this fun?
there's no reason not to make it Hoth. And like, I don't know what else it could be, like that planet that they, a new planet, obviously, would be great. But,
With how much the Mandoverse is obsessed with Tatooine, I would not be surprised if this is Hoth.
Right. Yeah, something everyone knows. It's just like, let's just keep it simple and make it Hoth.
I think I
Instead of
honestly think we
Departure
overthink
Collect
Star Wars.
9.
Though I think it's fine to do that. I honestly-
Us? We have a podcast
we did
every
a
week.
whole-
What do you mean we overthink Star Wars?
yeah, seriously. But
How dare you,
like,
sir?
we talked about fan service last week, and it's like, it just comes to like, if you're gonna show this Super Bowl ad with the Tauntauns, I think you just, if that was always in the plan, or if they weren't talking to each other, I don't know. But it's like, I would just do Hoth. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
honestly,
I'm
that's
okay
fine.
with it.
Yeah.
I intellectually hate it, and then if I was in the theater, it was Hoth, I would just get a jolt and lean forward. So
Yeah,
Do it.
right. Yeah, it's also because like if you just heard a new planet name, you'd be like, "This is cool," but like even when we do our campaign, I'm like, I think we've only been on new planets, and it's like it doesn't. I mean, we won the
Rhodia.
Rhoda, right?
That's right, Rhodia.
Yeah, Rhodia.
But like, I think you want to go back to some planets you know now and again. It's just kind of like that's the adventure and sort of magic that the childhood wonder.
It's a balance.
Yeah,
For sure. You got to pick your spots.
but then are we okay with Hoth and then Nar Shaddaa and Nal Hutta? Like, are we okay with like planets that we've always known about and we're actually going to these? Like, are we okay with like all known planets in a movie? I wonder.
I doubt it'll be all known planets, but
Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
great with Nar Shaddaa.
Yeah, I mean, more.
Me too.
Who's gonna more Nosh stuff?
Yeah, and I mean, it's like this is our demo. This podcast demo is like.
Do we
yeah,
see
like,
Figure and Dan in the modal modes like playing in?
Oh,
in
probably.
a Cantina and Nar Shaddaa? Do we get a Cantina band on Nar Shaddaa? Does it happen?
we better.
I mean, there has to be.
There's
right?
gonna be. There's always that like offshoot random band playing music that sounds like so weird, and that's like kind of my favorite thing. I love when they do that.
We might
Yeah.
go to Nal Hutta though, because there's swamps, right? Like, doesn't Grogu have like a moment on a swamp with something?
All right, didn't we see
Oh.
it in Clone Wars? But it was a heavy swamp planet. But
That's where the waist deep in mud comes from. Like, Nal Hutta's
Yeah.
a swamp.
Yes.
I think there's like a whole system. I mean, there's obviously a whole system of hut space. I forget what the planet was. They definitely went to a planet to track down a hut. Actually, they went to track down that singer from Return of the Jedi. And
Do you know why Nal-
and she was there. And she was
Do you know why
on.
Nal Hutta is so cool? Is because it has all like the Ralph McQuarrie designed
Yeah,
70s sci-fi spaces in like a swamp with like the Endor jungle, like forest ambience. Like it's a very cool like place for
Yeah.
Star Wars to happen.
Yeah. Very
I'm
alien.
into Nalada.
Yeah, I think, everything about the huts is cool. And then, yeah, you start going deeper into like their whole ecosystem and what they're about and what brought them about and how they, it shouldn't just be, like Detroit. It should be like, a very new, exciting space.
Yeah.
Giant palaces and swamps, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of what I imagine.
Quick side note is I think that they introduced Star Wars Nalhada in the Star Wars Galaxies RPG way back when, so I was very excited about that.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah,
It was very swampy and lots of toxic gas, as I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah, and that's what was used in
Okay,
Clone
cool.
Wars. So
Sure.
Filoni's on that. So cool. Yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. I'm stoked about it. I hope you guys are too. A couple months away. I think it's gonna be great.
73 days from days of recording from.
Okay.
That's
I think
really
Google it.
Be
Close.
here before we know it.
We gotta get tickets, right? Are tickets on sale yet? Are we gonna do the same thing? Are we gonna go see it 2 times in a row?
If you insist.
Yeah, we'll see it IMAX because format
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. So I'll travel up to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Well,
got a
we
couple.
should start planning that, and so should you. Yeah, I actually have to put it on the calendar because,
Back to
life
back
is
70
terrible as an
millimeter.
adult.
Quick side note. I think
Man,
that's
over
coming
here.
out like 2 days after I'm done with the semester, which means I'm technically on sabbatical. So I'm gonna be living it up.
Nice.
What's the date?
The 22nd, May
It
22nd.
is the 22nd. All right, May
I think
22nd. Mandalorian and Grogu. We might as well pitch it here since we've been already pitching it for an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun, guys. We'll have a new topic next week. Maybe we'll dive back into the comics. Maybe talk some Jar Jar. I don't know.
Sure. Why don't we do the most whatever, I can't say it now.
Diametrically opposed.
Thank
Sure.
you. 2 things. Let's do Jar Jar and Kylo Ren.
And Cal.
Well,
I
we do
love it.
Kylo Ren
I love it.
and talk Jar Jar.
Yes,
What do you think?
I love that.
I love that idea. Brilliant.
Yeah. All right. Put it in the books. We're going to talk about Jar Jar and Kylo Ren next week. So, drink up, come maybe pregame at a different cantina before you come to our cantina next week because it's going to be wild.
Back to back.
But we appreciate you hanging out, and we'll talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cantina Chronicles. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to this pod. You can reach us at Cantina Chronicles on Instagram or cantinachronicles@gmail.com.